scientific, technological society, facts are things that can be observed and counted or maybe confirmed by experiment, reported. How do we break out of that mindset and into the...
Splendid. I want you to know that I have not planted this question. Maybe someone did. I did not plant this question. Good stuff. You see, yes, if we do not break through this, we don't get the sacramental reality. And that leads exactly what we said before. The scientific technological mentality, good for scientific technological things, for God's sake. I'm not I drive a car, I fly airplanes. I don't want, my pilot to be all excited about the sacramental economy. No, I want him to have a scientific and technical mind right there, just, like my surgeon. I want an atheist doctor. I don't want anybody who has any. I want somebody who's going to fix that machine. Don't tell me the sacrament of the body. Anyway, so it has its place. But that mentality cannot grasp a sacramental presence, because that mentality cannot grasp the presence of someone. That mentality can only grasp sameness. That's how it develops its laws. Something occurs, it will immediately try to put it within a law, an equation even, in order to understand it, to classify it. It cannot handle something that is new, radically new, that cannot be categorized. Becoming a creative presence, when somebody for no reason at all appears, cannot be handled by that mentality. But you see, the best antidote is art, whether it is painting, music, poetry. These are part and parcel of human life, but we are so prejudiced that we tend to think of them as secondary ways of knowing or existing. The real one is the technical and scientific way. How sad, because that is not so. It is the opposite. The poetic way is far more real. When I say something about the moon in a poem, that says much more about what is happening than some kind of equation relating the trajectory of a moon rocket. What is really real, personally? You see, the more we learn to appreciate presence of something new, of a gift, you see, because these paintings, Mr. Burgess not only was present, as I say, but present in the act of giving himself, of projecting himself outwards to us, becoming therefore very vulnerable, very vulnerable. I want to hurt him, I'll desecrate his painting. I say, it's even worse than if I attempted to hit him over the head. It's even worse, a worse offense, because it hits him in the act of giving himself, really being creative, something new. The technological, the scientific mentality, for all its greatness, and as I say, wonderful stuff comes out of it. But you better watch out, because it cannot grasp these realities. It cuts them off from life. And therefore, everything is subject to manipulation. There is no art. There is no poetry. There is no story. Everything is the dull repetition of the working out of some eternal law. That is boring. Well, no other question, my man? What do you think of this stuff? As a musician, back me up. Say something intelligent.
That may be difficult at the ceremony. I think the visual and performing arts are a tremendous expression of what's inside of people. When I sit down to try to compose a piece of music, it does me no good to try to think beforehand what that music might be. I just have to let it happen. It's what happened when I composed the music for this show. It's what happens in the beginning of the show when you ask me to play. I try not to plan anything for the first time you ask me to play something, because otherwise you don't get any of me. You get something from somebody else. And
St. Thomas Aquinas, discussing creation itself, says when God creates through wisdom, he creates in the manner of an artist. God creates in the manner of an artist, and in the manner of an artist, he redeems and saves us and brings us salvation. So when we say the grace of God has appeared, we mean it has become fact, it has become event, it has become flesh. It is very important. The sacraments are very important because the alternative is a crippling spiritualism. Again, Aquinas, this great defender of creation, he says the sacraments are good because they force us to deal with matter, with the world. Otherwise, we will end up blaming the world for our fall, for our tragedy. The tragedy is not the world. Creation is good. Matter is good. The tragedy is a rebellious will. We may not blame creation. We must confront our rebellious will. It is great that the salvation from it comes to us through the things of this world. Et verbum caro factum est became flesh, and we have seen his glory.